What's up there, workforce? Chris here with Work to Game. Super short news post. Ishgard fixed, I guess, is the title. That seems logical. So for those of you that have tried partaking in the Ishgard restoration, the way it has worked is we have built up to each stage. Each stage has had a concerted work, like a big-timed fate, and that fate gets completed, and then it triggers an 8-hour cooldown, and we do the whole thing over again. And for many of you that has been involved in like, okay, maybe I can go find another server when I'm able to play, because my server I can't seem to get in because the firmament says it's congested. It won't let any more players in. And so we put out a post saying, you know what? If they intended this, they intended this. It's exciting. There's maybe people, and if it becomes a problem, they will change it. And then the next day, Yoshi P came out with a statement saying as much, and that actually they were already tracking it and that they already had emergency measures ready. We talked about that on our podcast with Chili. So Brian and I have been sharing our opinions in real time. And now today, without taking the servers down, without maintenance, they have put out a statement that says, we are aware of the issues with the firmament reaching its player cap as a result of players using the world visit system. This has meant that many players have been unable to participate on the concerted works on their home world. After reviewing the situation, we have decided to set up movement restrictions so that characters can only enter the firmament on their home world. This will not require a maintenance, and we are planning to implement this in real time on all worlds. After implementation of the restrictions, any characters who are already in the firmament will encounter these when they try to re-enter the firmament. Please continue to participate in the Ishgardian restoration on your home world. We thank you for your understanding and continuous support. Okay. Few things here. First of all, they were tracking it from the get-go. They made a thought, right, based on the fact that it looked like the number of crafters and gatherers that were active leading into the patch was not evenly distributed. Apparently, that has been removed. So servers that they feel like didn't have enough crafters to partake in Ishgard restoration, they apparently think that the number of people who are now joining into crafting and gathering will be enough. And the other piece of this is the technology piece. Them flipping this on, flipping it off, we can talk about all day whether or not they should have known this or who was right or who was wrong. But ultimately, the content seems to be a success. Such a success that their concerns weren't worth having. So they backed off on those and they said, you know what? Let's just go ahead and let people do it on their home world. Awesome. I hope all the home worlds continue to progress at the same rate. I hope there's something very shiny at the end of this Ishgardian restoration tunnel, and I can't wait to see what that is. I was chasing it around server to server just to try to get to take in part in any of them, because my own server, when I didn't get in on it, I don't want to do each stage multiple times. I wasn't trying to use the world visit system to milk the scripts, but I was trying to use it to get a taste, and so hopefully it'll make it easier for that taste to come from my own world, and hopefully there's something more significant about building your own Ishgard instead of just building a Ishgard. But either way, I'm glad they went this route rather than trying to spin up an unlimited number of instances. I think that this is a good step. But the second piece that I'm really excited about on this is that they were able to do it without a maintenance, that they were able to do it based on data of just a few days, and that they were able to do it in a way that rolled out in real time to affect an entire system that was working to take advantage of all the technology that the servers have today, and then take them backwards in real time while leaving the world visit system in place. This is incredibly powerful. For a game that we often look at the things going on in the game and we talk about that spaghetti code, we talk about the problems that exist from the past and how it's limiting their technological abilities to make the content they want to make or to implement them the way they want to implement them. This is a big shift away from that. This is something that's being done to a major piece of content with hundreds, if not thousands of players actively participating in it at any time of day worldwide, and change it in real time with no maintenance, no update, just the flip of a switch. And what that tells me is that if this goes the other way, if as interest wears off, say everybody gets the mounts they want, they get all their crafters and gatherers to cap from experience, and we're not done rebuilding these cities, and the number of people across servers starts to fall off. So the servers that are heavily populated, these servers that he said have 4 times as much, the Gilgameshes of the world, have plenty, and they are still having trouble getting in. They're still running into congestion issues. But these other servers, I think Siren, for example, feels like one that has a little bit lower population, but that could just be, that's just my feelings. I don't have world populations in front of me. But just as an example, say a different server on the same data center literally is just not completing them. Day after day, concerted works are failing. Day after day, they're just falling step after step after step behind. And it looks like, oh my God, we are intending for Ishgard to be built on the launch of 5.5. That's just speculation. I have no idea. This is just an example. But we are expecting the first set Ishgards to complete on 5.5. And here we are looking down the barrel of the completion of the expansion going into 6.0. And this server is still 20 steps behind, or whatever the math is. This switch, the exciting thing about this, the exciting thing about all that, example, is that in that example, if they wanted to, they could flip the switch the other way and let people go back to helping that server out. That's really cool. The idea that moving forward, possibly they could have that switch, in my mind, be toggleable, where it would say, first dibs on an event, go to that server. And then if that server should fail, we will come back at a 24-hour check, right? We gave them 24 hours to do the concerted work. They did not get it done. Flip world visit on. Now, right now, it looks like that switch could be tied to a across-the-board change, all clients, all servers worldwide. But this is still a major step forward in what we have seen from the tech around 14. It's a game where, in general, we've seen them build and bolt on more and more features to this game. It's incredible what they've done. Shadowbringers is a wonderful expansion. As a whole, there are individual areas that I know I have a few issues. There are other individual areas where I know other people have a few issues. But across the board, I think everybody sings its praises. And to see that the tech behind it is moving forward just as much. To put that in perspective, since we've compared a lot of things to WoW because they're the other big fish in the room, the big tech shift that happened, around the same number of expansions in, was Cataclysm. Cataclysm was a rebuilding of the worlds. It was a reshaping of the worlds. It was adding a ton of the tech that we now see today. It was the ability to go back and add. It changed the way kind of phasing worked. It changed the way it gave them the ability to do the tech that was behind the Firelands dailies and stuff. And from a tech standpoint, Cataclysm was an incredibly instrumental expansion into giving WoW the power it has to hold the kind of events it can hold today, whether or not you liked the content that came along with it in that patch cycle. The reason that patch cycle felt so different from Lich King, from my understanding, is because they were putting so many resources into rebuilding the back end that the front end didn't have necessarily the same polish that Lich King did, which was an incredible content expansion. I loved Lich King, and Cataclysm felt good. It just didn't feel, it was no Lich King. Lich King was just something so special. It was also the first time they had a cohesive story where we built up towards this thing. So I think there was a lot of firsts that made Lich King truly special that I don't know that Cataclysm could have repeated. But from a tech standpoint, Cataclysm was very important to what we consider a World of Warcraft game today. And while we may or may not like loot systems or content cycles and things like that, their ability to do sharding and all of these things that are technologically very, very good, it's intriguing to look and say, Final Fantasy's doing that without dropping off the front end. They have a content cycle that is rocking and rolling, and they have tech that is coming out that is doing something inherently different in real time than anything we've seen them do to date. So I'm really excited about this. I think this is good news. I think it's great news that the Ishgardian Restoration has so much interest that they feel they don't need World Visit to carry it along. Obviously, they have the numbers, so we'll trust them on that. I think it was a logical guess to say, what if people don't like it? But, saying, hey, you think you do, but you do, then let's go ahead and release the floodgates. And I hope every server is able to continue to progress and people feel that they can take part on their own server. How cool. So get out there, build your own Ishgard, take part. What a cool community experience. I'm really excited about this content. And I'm really excited that it has the turnout. Anything that gets this level of passion from the base as a whole and not just a portion of it, like so much of our content does, where Ultimate's incredibly cool content, but it only affects a very small percentage of the population. And PvP's doing some cool new things, and these modes look interesting, but it will only affect a very small portion of the population, and so on. So crafting and gathering has always been a small bucket like that. And this time it's not. This time it's something so much bigger. So I hope people are enjoying it. That's why they went to all this effort, and it's great to see that pan out. My name's Chris with Work to Game. Have a fantastic day. Go out there, rebuild an Ishgard, and I'll see you next time.
What's going on, Workforce? Chuck here. It's been a good long month, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. I just wanted to invite my friend Terry, the T-Rex from Texas, out here. Howdy, y'all. How's it going? This is a really fun end screen video. We should have written a script, right, Chuck? Oh, I agree totally. In fact, I think both our voices sound exactly the same. What are we to do? I don't know. I think we need to get a better voice actor. Yes, I agree. Which one of us is talking? Ah. They're still here. What are we gonna do? I guess we're gonna stop and record.